Welcome to the Isle of Skye. This was our last stop on a big Scotland road trip around the North Coast 500 and the Outer Hebrides. And if you want to have a look at either of those road trips, then have a look at my previous videos. But this one is going to be all about Skye and what we did there. So hopefully it'll give you a little bit of inspiration. However, we had beautiful weather until we got to Skye, where we were met with the worst, rainiest storms that we had ever seen.
Pretty well.
But the scenery was still so incredible, and our first stop was the fairy pools. Which were more like the fairy rapids. The water was absolutely raging, and the stepping stones to get there were completely underwater, and I was sure that one of these tourists in their Converses were going to be flying down that river. Like, the wind and the rain actually got so intense at points, you had to brace yourself so that you didn't get blown away. It was still pretty amazing to see, but we definitely did not go for a swim, and we were just so damp and cold that we needed a pub. Luckily, we managed to get a table to have a few drinks because it was all a bit complicated because of COVID, so we actually just decided to stay in a car park in the town for the night and get fish and chips just to relax and not stress about finding somewhere in the horrible weather. How good are they?
Very, very good.
Delicious. First thing in the morning, we drove straight to walk up to the old Man of Storr, and this was one of the things I was most looking forward to doing, and I could not believe how many people were there. I took all of my videos trying to avoid people, but not many people bothered walking all the way to the top, and the views were so worth it. We then drove further up the coast, just stopping and seeing everything that we possibly could, and there was this cool waterfall and some ruins down on a beach. And then we headed to a waterfall, which is supposed to look like a kilt, I think, but I didn't really get it. And then we drove to some old castle ruins before driving to one of the most magical places that we saw on Skye. The Fairy Glen is a really strange place where landslides have formed these strange alien-looking markings in the hills, and people over the years have come up with these myths and legends about fairies living there, and it was a really cool place to walk around, and it's so high up in the island that I don't think as many people go there, so it was quite quiet. And then I spotted this waterfall up in the hills opposite, and I found on Google Maps that you could probably get pretty near to it, and so we made it our mission to find this waterfall and to see if we could get down to it. It kind of felt like we might be driving right into somebody's farm, and we were met by loads of cows guarding the way. And when we got there, the view was amazing. It was probably the best view over the Fairy Glen, and there was a sign on the gate saying enter at your own risk, so we figured it must be some sort of walking path anyway, and we headed down to see what the waterfall was going to be like. It was amazing, it was perfect, and we were so lucky that the sun came out and I got my bikini on, and I was kind of actually pretty grateful for the shower, even though that we were gonna have a campsite. So it's pretty typical that the one day I find a shower, we actually have a campsite, but the waterfall was just so refreshing and so beautiful, and it felt super magical to have it all to ourselves in the middle of the hills with all of those views. think this bridge was supposed to be a ferry bridge, but we just stopped here super quick on our way to the campsite, and I thought it had really cool views from it, but then I saw loads of human poop, so didn't stay there very long. And then we made it to our campsite near Dunvegan and went into town for some filthy pizza and burgers because there weren't really many restaurants serving. And then in the morning we went to Dunvegan Castle, which was a pretty cool castle, but you weren't allowed inside it again, but the gardens were really pretty. And then seeing as we were up so high, we decided to go to Coral Beach because there's not really that many beaches on Skye, and this is a pretty famous one. So we went for a walk on the beach and climbed up to have a look at the views. And then on the drive down, it was so beautiful because on the first day we couldn't see anything through all the rain and the fog, so we were really shocked to see all of these amazing mountains. Oh my god, where are we? We're in space.
We're in the sky.
And then I think I did the epic drive from Skye down to Fort William, so there's not really any footage of that. But then when we got back to Fort William, it was a very special day. My birthday.
You have to put it inside.
Oh my god! My friend had sent us off to Scotland with this huge hamper of birthday treats with instruction that we had to save some of them for my birthday. So I think we just about had the cake left and like a little bottle of champagne, and we demolished everything else up until then. But it was really sweet and it was really nice to enjoy this little treat under the mountains for my birthday. And then we made the drive home. So that brings us to an end of our road trip on Skye, and this was part of a much bigger road trip. So if you want to see more of the North Coast 500 or the Outer Hebrides, then do check out my other videos. It was the most amazing road trip, and I can tell you that the Outer Hebrides are probably the most amazing place that I have ever been. So do go and check out that video, and I will see you all soon.
Whoa, I think you might have made it.
I think you might have.